So let's talk a little bit about how this particular moon matrix will be altered. And remember, this is theoretical, strictly for entertainment purposes only. I'm going to point you to the book of Revelations within the Bible, Revelations 12 to be exact. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and upon her head was a crown of 12 stars. And as I showed you, the gates within this moon matrix, there are 12 gates, which I said again could represent the 12 months within the year where you're born, or the zodiac signs, or it could represent the 12 tribes of Israel. However, there's actually 13 tribes. But what this particular text is talking about is a particular woman, and this particular woman is one of the two witnesses, which are the twin tower polarities of the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And it basically says that she has a crown of 12 stars, and the 12 stars are the 12 gates, which are in the diagram, and she has the moon under her feet. Why does she have the moon under her feet? Well, it's because she can actually be the one to destroy this particular moon matrix. That she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. Basically, the reason why this woman has the moon under her feet and the ability to destroy the moon matrix is because she gives birth to the man-child. Obviously, this was not something that she was supposed to be doing. She actually becomes awake, and she becomes the one in charge of the 12 gates with the 12 stars upon her head, and she has the moon at her feet because she alters the resonance by awaking within the matrix and having or adding something to the resonant frequency, or overloading the system by having a child and changing her number or her path because she is fully awake. And this is why they are angry and they seek to
unalive,
kill the baby basically once the baby is born. So because the resonant frequency has a set pattern, it's only set up to 12, there is no room for 13. You have 12 disciples, and Jesus would represent the 13th person. There are 13 tribes of Israel, 13 stripes on the American flag, and there are 13 tribes, including the tribe of Judah, which are the descendants of Jesus Christ. This is the reason why the woman is so powerful and has the power to destroy the moon, because she actually gains Christ consciousness, and then she destroys the moon matrix by awakening, changing the path that the moon has set for her numerically so that she can comfortably fit into the resonance to keep the loop going. It is absolutely no coincidence that this particular scripture is nested within Revelations 12, because the Bible is coded like a numerical gematria, basically grimoire. And once you learn what these numbers mean and you learn how to decode, as I have, you will understand this in full. So there's really a reason, a very distinct reason why the number 12 is being mentioned here and why it's connected to this moon matrix download that I've received. The reason why the woman is in yellow is because she represents the divine feminine. The divine feminine is Oshun, which is the goddess of the solar plexus. She is typically depicted as clothed in yellow, and she represents the extreme polarity of the divine feminine. And she's also representative of lakes and rivers, which is water. Hello, we are in the age of Aquarius. So when I first was deciding what to paint, what colors to paint this particular photo, I just made a decision to paint it blue and yellow, which are actually two of my favorite colors, blue being my favorite. However, the yellow is very significant because it represents the Oshun energy, or the divine feminine, as well as the blue, which is what Oshun regulates, which is the water. Keep in mind, we're also in the age of Aquarius, which is the free flow of information. So this is actually extremely succinct. The moon itself is said to regulate the waters. So it makes perfect sense that the divine feminine would be the one to actually destroy this moon matrix, because she is the water, she is the current. And by changing her path, or changing the current of the water or the information, and awakening other people, as well as altering her path that was preset by the moon matrix, she in turn creates the new reality. The flood of information, or the truth within the age of Aquarius, or the water that is flowing, will be the thing that overloads the system, the information, to actually destroy or remove this particular third dimensional paradigm, so that we can be freed from the third dimension and ascend up into the fifth and seventh dimension in the future. On a quantum level, all is frequency, and all frequency can be measured in numbers and degrees of light. So our reality is typically made up of numbers. And if you seek to control the reality, you're seeking to control that through the numerical values that are presented to people, because we are the observers. And as we are observing through our third eye, our pineal gland, we are taking in these light codes, which in essence is creating the reality, or shaping our thought process within this reality. And that is done through music, television, all types of entertainment that we engage in on a regular basis, as well as the language that we speak, because all of the English language can be coded numerically. And as I explained in previous videos, numbers are actually sigils. Just like with any grimoire, they are angles or degrees of light. So it doesn't surprise me that a person that's a quantum physicist works with these numbers to keep that resonance controlled, or those numerical values in check. And you can feel free to browse my page. I have plenty of decodes, including my art that is actually sucked into this entire process. Everything that I create artistically is also a part of all of my decodes. Consciously and unconsciously, I created these things, and they kind of all fit into this particular puzzle. So the two witnesses are the two Christ, or the two Messiahs, and the woman clothed in yellow in Revelation 12 is the divine feminine aspect of the two witnesses, who gives birth to this child that is to rule the nations with a rod of iron. So basically, this particular man-child that is born of parents that are both Christ conscious. They give birth to this baby and pretty much disrupt the entire system by reintroducing the Christ bloodline, which is the 13th bloodline, which is what the church and all of these different entities seek to hide. This is the Da Vinci Code. This is basically Mary Magdalene actually being the wife of Jesus Christ, which you can look more into that, but I do have a detailed diagram that I decoded from a 9/11 anagram on my page that explains this in very good detail. The number 13 is extremely significant, and it's often associated as a bad luck number because of that. You had Jesus Christ, which would have made 13 from the 12 disciples, and the number 13 is actually the divine number. It represents the Ankh. It is the 4 points, not the cross. It is the Ankh symbol with the woman as the womb, the divine masculine, which is the phallus at the bottom, and then you have the 2 offshoots on each side, which represents the 2 children, basically. So it's mother, father, son, daughter, and that is pretty much the number 4, which is also representative of the number 13. The mathematics of the moon matrix is basically the coding of the matrix of the reality and how our reality is coded through numbers. And a lot of times when you're looking at popular media, like if you watched the Super Bowl last night, there was tons of symbology. However, these particular light codes have different meanings within the context of their actual degree of light or shape. So this is how you learn to decode the reality and how to read between the lines of the story that's being conveyed. In order to break this moon matrix, you're going to need to ascend to the number 13 by recreating the Christ bloodline, which is the 13th bloodline, and the woman in Revelation 12 does just that. Another theory I thought about was, upon reading the book, The Lost Book of Enki, one thing I noticed within the book was them talking about the creation of the zodiac signs and how those particular sigils were placed within the sky to govern the black-haired people of Shem.
Above, in a circle skyward pointing, the 12 constellations by their signs were marked out. Below, as in the Abzu, waters with swimming fishes flowed.
And these were the ancient Sumerian people who allegedly seeded life on planet Earth. The black-headed Shem people are within North and South America. So basically in this book it says that they placed the zodiac symbols in the sky. What I would like to theoretically propose to you is that the moon matrix actually projects those sigils, and those sigils are what controls your personality. It controls your all the aspects of the different zodiacs, because they are magical sigils that seep into your third eye, and the degrees of light that are surrounding your birth, basically on your astrological chart. So when you are born, basically you have a zodiac sigil or symbol or a degree of light that are points of light in the sky that are governing your particular birth. And depending on the moon placement and all of the placements within the zodiac wheel determines how your personality is going to come out, what your life path is going to be, what your numbers are. Your name, your birth date, and all of that stuff is kind of determined and created to be shaped within this particular system that we exist in that kind of governs. In my theory, each of these 12 gates are projectors, and these projectors project the sigils that influence your birth charts and all of the different angles of degrees. Why do you think that when you do your birth and astrological charts, you have these different degrees? It's because within this particular wheel that is created, you have all of these different points of light or sigils that are affecting you numerically, and they are imprinted upon your consciousness when you are born, and that pretty much shapes your path. So this is how this moon matrix works. This is the projector, and it is governed and run within the moon by our frequencies that are siphoned into these 12 gates, and pretty much keep this system running until it is no longer running. So it actually makes sense that this is the Saturn moon matrix, because Saturn's atmospheric hexagonal feature is measured at 10 hours and 39 minutes, which, as I stated before, there's 10 gates on this side, 10 gates on this side. There are 12 in the center, and 12 equals 3. So basically you have each of these representing 9. So the math just maths perfectly for that. And that explains why this is the Saturn moon matrix. As I stated previously, a lot of my artwork centers around the decoding and the work that I do. So I do have a piece of art that I created called Immaculate Conception, which kind of explains this hyperdimensional cube reality that we live in. And it also correlates with quantum superposition, which is Schrodinger's cat. And also I did do a diagram, which I will also plug in here, about quantum superposition in the ancient Egyptians and how they used pyramids to create this cube basically, and jump or quantum jump into another dimension, which they call the field of reeds, which I will plug that in so you can see that here as well. But this matches perfectly with everything that I have decoded to show you that this particular cube is what keeps us trapped within the third dimension. So per usual, I hope that this message resonated with you, and if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe and share, and put a cube down in the comments, and just let me know in general what you think of this content. And per usual, peace, love, and light.